Here with Canucks beat writer supreme, sophomore, Patrick Johnson. I will give him a plug if you have not followed Patrick on Instagram, Patty J on the Road, where as a new beat reporter, he did this all last year in his rookie season, he takes us behind the scenes a little bit about what it's like to travel with an NHL team. So you started the season on a wonderful...
Put up with other sports writers, yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, early fall tour of Alberta.
Right.
We won't get into the cold weather or...
It's nice, wasn't bad.
I'm sure it is nice, but let's talk about what wasn't nice.
Right.
An 0-2 start for the Canucks.
Yeah.
Is this... It's only 2 games. You're playing against, two other talented teams. Are you surprised with how those games went?
I think when you look back at Wednesday's game in Edmonton, I think a bit unlucky. Travis Green said at the time, a bit lucky to come away without a point. To be honest, I thought they played well enough to win. I think that's what they should have been upset about, was that they didn't win. It's not that they didn't get a point; they didn't win. They probably deserved to win. They hit a couple posts. Pettersson hit a couple posts. Ederle hit the crossbar late. Good shots, worked well. I mean, the reality is we knew the Oilers obviously have 2 superstars, but the rest of the team's not that great, and so. That's a game that...
really? A team that's been rebuilding for that long only has 2 good players?
I think the stat
funny
is
how that happens.
They're trying to be the only... I think they would be the only major North American sport team to have missed the playoffs 13 out of 14 years. I think I wrote that. I think that's the stat. I wrote that last week. Anyway, that was tough. The Calgary game on Saturday, we saw why the Flames are locked in to be in the playoffs. They're a very good team. They come at you hard. There's lots of depth in their lineup, and as everyone's been kind of saying, it was an example of a game where their best players were the proverbial best players. I wrote it myself, and they won it. So the measuring stick, it's so early. It's 2 games. I don't think. If anyone's thinking of hitting the panic button yet, don't.
Oh, of course.
Give it a couple games.
We've
got to see how this week plays out. How they go with the Kings, the Red Wings, the Flyers, and then the Red Wings. I mean, those two, after 5 games, maybe we can start saying things because we'll see a bit of a trend. But you know what? It was unfortunate. You could see how frustrated the players were by losing 2 games. Where nobody likes losing. So,
I saw something. I'm not. I'll defer to you in terms of this is accurate. Elias Pettersson hasn't scored an even strength 5-on-5 goal since January?
February? That was something I noted. Yeah, he hasn't scored an even strength goal since February, and that was a late goal, nothing goal in Washington. It is a curious case.
He hit the post as you.
Yeah, he's getting chances.
He could easily have a couple of goals.
Yeah, and I think in this case, it's a fresh season. He's been playing on a line that hadn't played together all training camp, between Besser taking forever to sign his contract, then getting a concussion, Michael Furlan having that viral infection that went around and every parent in the Lower Mainland knows about. They hadn't skated together. But
Patrick, it doesn't matter if Besser holds out. He's going to sign eventually, right? This is what training camp's for. Yeah. Play together, build chemistry. Yeah. Obviously, the timing's off.
For sure. That's 100% it. And I think, like I said, he's had some chances. But, I think we're going to see how it goes. We'll see if they switch things up, how permanent that kind of a change is. But, like I said, it's early. He's been getting chances. If he hasn't, if it takes, weeks for him to score, then that's a talking point again.
Well, and also, we talk about 5-on-5. The power play also needs a kickstart, and he's a guy who could do that. So I don't think Canuck fans really care where his goal's from as long as the goals come. 100%, right?
Exactly.
Okay, curious case about this season. When does the seat start to get hot for either the GM or Green, and whose seat gets hot first? I'm not talking about like an 0-10 start, but if you get off to a 2-8 start.
Yeah, I think it's going to be Travis Green if that's the case, because in the end that's the one kind of trigger that Jim Benning in his case would have left. And if that were to happen and that they're struggling the standard we always talk about is American Thanksgiving. So late November. If they're looking well out of it, then I think, because it's not just going to be us talking about it here, that's when sort of the national media, national commentary
everyone says,
turns on to everything.
This is where you are, yes.
Yeah, this is where you are, this is who you are. So that's when the discussion, so it's, that to me is when it's going to start happening, if it happens. I don't think, it is a tough start. Like October is a tough schedule. They're going back on the road next week. But we'll see.
Okay.
It's very early to be talking about something.
All right, lots of great Canuck content from Patrick, also Ben Kuzma, Ed Willis, the whole gang. We've started our poster series in conjunction with the Canucks. We started with Elias Pettersson. Bo Horvat is next. All the future stars are going to happen in October. November, we get into the stars of the 70s. December, we go into the 80s, and then you can count forward from there. So posters, podcasts, videos, Instagram, Patty J on the road. You get it all here at the Province and the Vancouver Sun.